Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So I'll just read the verse again. My dear Lord, by expanding your transcendental vibrations, you reveal the actual meaning of everything. You are the all-pervading sky within and without, and you are the ultimate goal of pious activities, executed both within this material world and beyond it. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances again and again unto you. Om Agana Tamandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chakshu Mulatam Jena Tasme Shri Garave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapitandikam. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So nice to be here. Just only here for a couple of days. A great fortune to be in the company of so many wonderful Vaishnavas and Shushi Radha Gopinath, Shushi Gauranitai, Shushi Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, and Srila Prabhupada. So this is the song sung by Lord Shiva. Many verses from Lord Shiva glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. It's quite amazing that I'm reading from this verse because just yesterday I was in Canberra and I just randomly opened this chapter and we started reading from the beginning of this chapter. And I found one or two verses which I'll quote in the class, which really stood out to me, the purports. So there's, Prabhupada starts off by stating there's Vedic evidence is called Shabda Brahma. So this is the most powerful way of understanding the absolute truth is through the Vedic knowledge. The Vedas are known as Shabda Brahman, Srila Prabhupada says, to give the ultimate understanding. The other ways of understanding things is through one's gross sensual perception, or there's histories, and also, what is it called? Anuman? Anuman. Yeah, how's that described? Induction, right. Yeah. So, but the most powerful way to understand anything within the material and spiritual worlds, and ultimately the absolute truth, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our relationship with Him, the process of devotional service, and our eternal occupation, rendering bhakti, loving devotional service, is to take knowledge from Shabda Brahman, the transcendental sounds from the Vedic knowledge. Specifically, the most powerful books in the Vedic knowledge, which Srila Prabhupada has translated, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada would say that these are the most important books. Everything we need to know is within the pages of these books. We can perfect our life just by understanding the philosophies through Srila Prabhupada's books he's given us. So basically we also we have a 3-point checkpoint, and that is Shastra, Guru and Sadhu. So to understand everything that we need to know in Krishna consciousness and to become free from being misdirected in life, we always have to have these 3 checkpoints. Check with the Shastra, the Guru, the spiritual master, and the saintly personalities. And Srila Prabhupada would teach that there's basically 2 processes of learning. There's the descending process and the ascending process. The ascending process is we try and gather knowledge and understand who we are, what the universe is, who God is, through our own mind and senses. But as we're very limited, how can we possibly understand? Like Prabhupada says, even the animals, many animals have better sense perception than human beings. Even dogs can hear, like miles away, or the eagle, Prabhupada says, can see its prey 5 miles from up in the sky. But we can't see more than a couple of 100 meters or hear sounds more than a few 100 meters. It's very limited, but the most powerful process for understanding the absolute truth, Krishna, is the descending process. We take knowledge through the parampara, the disciplic succession coming from Krishna, Brahma, Narad, down through the bona fide spiritual masters all the way to our Srila Prabhupada and his representatives. So it's interesting in this purport, how Prabhupada says the real essence of Shabda Brahma is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. By vibrating this transcendental sound, the meaning of everything, both material and spiritual, is revealed. The Hare Krishna, this Hare Krishna is non-different from the personality of Godhead. So it's not that just in Kali Yuga the elevated personalities, the devotees of the Lord chanted Hare Krishna. Even in previous ages they chanted Hare Krishna, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But they also had to perform more rigorous processes of spiritual practice in order to achieve perfection, becoming fully Krishna conscious, fully God realized, fully purified, and enabled to go back to the spiritual world. And as we know, in such a yuga they had to meditate for up to 60,000 years, of a 100,000 year span of life. Like Valmiki, right? He meditated for 60,000 years before he was empowered to write the Ramayana. So the great sages used to go to the Himalayas, meditate for this period of time. In Treta Yuga, that process was no longer possible. The lifespan was reduced. Vice was introduced in human society, so that more easier process of great fire sacrifices, the very powerful priests chanting the sacred mantras, offering tons of ghee and gold into the fire sacrifice to invoke the presence of Krishna and invoke transcendental auspiciousness. In Dwapara Yuga that was no longer possible, so the process was huge opulent temple worship, building huge temples, and which there's still remnants of some today, especially in India, that were from the last age. But in Kali Yuga none of these processes are possible. Everything is reduced. As it states in the Bhagavatam, day by day everything will be reduced. Religion, lifespan, mercy, truthfulness, etc. Strength, bodily strength. So much so that even though previously in such a yuga they lived up to 100,000 years and 10,000 years, in Treta Yuga 1,000 years, in Dwapara Yuga now we only have 100 years maximum. And we see that as even decreasing day by day because of the powerful influence of Kali. Srila Prabhupada says in the future a man will be considered an old man if he lives to 20 or 30 years old. And practically, religion will become non-existent. People's bodily stature, size, strength, compassion will be reduced to almost nil. But we've been given this special concession. Just chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the Yuga Dham, the most powerful process for the age of Kali. It's non-different from Krishna, Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. That the holy name of Krishna is directly from the spiritual world, is not under the modes of material nature. It's not affected by material inebrities. It's as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, non-different from his pastimes, from all his incarnations. All the Lord's incarnations, all his pastimes, all his qualities are invested in the holy name, in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's given us this Yuga Dham, and by example, he set the example by always chanting Hare Krishna, always chanting and dancing and feasting. He gave this simple process. The whole Chaitanya Charitamrita is full of chanting Hare Krishna, dancing in ecstasy, and feasting. And of course, there's the verse in the 11th canto, Krishna Varnam Trisa Krishnam Sango Pangasha Pashadam Yagna Sankatam Praya Yantahi Shameda Shaha. In this age of Kali, the Lord incarnates, but he doesn't come in blackish form, comes in a golden form, and he's always accompanied by his servants, confidential companions, weapons, and he's always chanting the holy names, chanting Hare Krishna. And we're called the Hare Krishna movement. Why is that? Because people see us in the street chanting Hare Krishna, and people receive so much benefit just by hearing the holy name, just by hearing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. They become free from unlimited sinful reactions. In the 6th canto, in relation to Ajamil, Sankecham Pariyasham Va, Stobam Helanam Eveva, Vaikunthanama, it's forgotten. One who chants the holy name of the Lord is freed from unlimited sinful reactions, even if he chants jokingly or neglectfully, derisively, or for musical entertainment. What to speak if we chant Hare Krishna purely? So we can't underestimate the potency of spreading this Hare Krishna movement, specifically by spreading the Yugadam, the chanting of Hare Krishna. Sankirtan is the wide chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, especially for the benefit of thousands and millions of conditioned souls out there in these big cities and towns. And Prabhupada says for wider distribution of the holy name, book distribution. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra may be heard for 1 or 2 blocks, but Prabhupada said one may get a book in Sydney, and then he takes it to his friend in Perth or Albury or somewhere, where maybe there's not even devotees, and he gives it to a friend, and that person becomes a devotee. So this is the wider kirtan, Prabhupada says. But not that all these things must go on simultaneously to the 3 weapons of our preaching, 3 angas of our preaching mission: book distribution, Harinam Sankirtan, Prashadam distribution. Not that we just do book distribution, neglect the Harinam Sankirtan or the Prashadam distribution, or we just do Harinam, neglect the book distribution. The last few days we set up in Canberra for a couple of days with the book table, and we did kirtan as well, and we had mango lassi, prashadam to give out, and Newcastle as well. And maybe we'll do a few hours today. And this chanting of Hare Krishna is the basis of everything. Everything begins in the bead bag, right? We hear that sometimes. Everything comes out of the bead bag. Our whole spiritual life comes out of the bead bag. So Prabhupada says if you chant at least 16 rounds on your beads and unlimited rounds off your beads, you're certainly the greatest meditator and yogi by practicing this Krishna conscious process. So we're always chanting Hare Krishnas. We're always chanting. We're chanting on our beads. We're chanting in kirtan. We're chanting on Sankirtan, going out in public, and preaching the philosophy of these transcendental literatures to the devotees, or preaching to the non-devotees. That is also chanting. So our whole life is based around hearing and chanting. The 9 processes of devotional service, but it begins with hearing and chanting. It's not possible to achieve the platform of remembering Krishna and worshipping the lotus feet of Krishna, becoming a friend of Krishna, offering prayers to Krishna, becoming a very devoted servant of Krishna, or offering everything to Krishna, if we don't start with the process of hearing and chanting. And this chanting of Hare Krishna, it comes from the spiritual world. Goloka Premadana Harinama Sankirtana. It's directly transported from Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost planet in the spiritual world. Not just the Vaikuntha planets, but Goloka Vrindavan. How wonderful is that? How amazing is that? And it's come down to this lowest place, the material world, and the darkest chapter of material existence, Kali Yuga. The most fallen people are free to accept this process of chanting Hare Krishna and the process of devotional service. Even though we're completely unqualified, Prabhupada said, you have no pious activity. I've created your pious activity. What to speak of doing any devotional service or understanding the process of Krishna consciousness, no training, most of us didn't even perform pious activities in our life, completely addicted to all sinful activities. What qualification do we have? We have the qualification that because we're the most fallen, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the saviour of the most fallen, Patita Pavana. He's come to save the most fallen out of his causeless mercy. And we shouldn't be proud and think, oh yeah, I'm the most fallen. I'm getting the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No, Prabhupada said, you're not. One devotee said, I'm the most fallen. Prabhupada said, you're not the most of anything. So that's right, we don't have any qualification. We can't be falsely humble either. So, there's many verses throughout Srila Prabhupada's books glorifying the process of devotional service, and specifically the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that this is the most powerful process for elevating all conditioned souls. Even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it says that even the animals, even the immovable objects can be immensely benefited by the loud chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And of course we know there's many faults, as the Bhagavatam says in the 12th canto, many faults in Kali Yuga, an ocean of faults. Kalodoshe Nitera Jan. It's an ocean of faults, unlimited faults. And we're just seeing the surface of faults. What to speak of what's going on which we can't see in this world, of all the anomalies. And they're all predicted in the 12th canto, right? And all the faults of Kali Yuga. But Kalodoshe Nitera Jan Astahekan Mahadgana. There's one great quality. Kirtana Deva Krishna Shah, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukta Sangha Param Vijay. One can be liberated from all misfortune and promoted to the topmost platform of being fully Krishna conscious and going back in one lifetime to the spiritual world for eternal life, full of bliss and knowledge. Of course, the elevated devotee, they don't mind even if they come back again to this world. They're not even desiring liberation. Prabhupada said you don't have to worry about your liberation. You're already liberated by saving others. Just worry about the liberation of others and automatically your liberation is guaranteed. Definitely devotees are not interested in sayuja or ekatva, merging with Krishna, but even they're not really interested in Sarupya achieving the same bodily form as Krishna, or Saloka the same planet in the spiritual world, Shashti the same opulence, Samipya the same association. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, my Lord, even if you want me to come back to this material world, I don't mind as long as I take birth in the house of your devotees, even as an insignificant insect, so that I get the association of your devotees. Because this is very elevated. Prabhupada said, back home, back to Godhead. Most of us we should consider, I'm neophyte, I need to get out of this world. So, Prabhupada said that the real problems of life is birth, death, old age and disease. So, and even, as practicing devotees, we shouldn't think that we're not subject to these problems. We all have a body that is growing old, gets disease, gets sick, and dies. But for a devotee, getting older and coming to the point of death he's getting closer to Krishna, because he's getting closer, either going back to the spiritual world, or Suchanam Srimatam Gehe, Yoga Brashta Bhajayate. One who falls away after short practice, takes birth in a family of aristocratic people or brahmanas. One who falls away is not successful after long practice, Krishna says, he takes birth in a family of Vaishnavas. Prabhupada says in the purport to that verse, such was the fortune of myself and my spiritual master. So there's no loss whether we go back to the spiritual world or come back here. I was just going to read an earlier verse in this chapter, which I was reading in Canberra. Text 10. Text 10. Maharaj Bahisat executed many sacrifices all over the world. He scattered kusha grasses and kept the tops of the grasses pointed eastward. So we can read the purport, it's not too long. As stated in the previous verse, Maharaj Bahisat dived very deeply into the fruit of activities of sacrifice. This means that as soon as he finished one jagya in one place, he began performing another jagya in the immediate vicinity. At the present moment, there is a similar need to perform Sankirtan Jagya all over the world. The Krishna consciousness movement has started performing Sankirtan Jagya in different places. And it has been experienced that wherever Sankirtan Jagya is performed, many thousands of people gather and take part in it. Imperceptible auspiciousness achieved in this connection should be continued all over the world. The members of the Krishna consciousness movement should perform Sankirtan Jagyas one after another, so much so that all the people of the world will either jokingly or seriously chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And thus they will derive the benefit of cleansing the heart. The holy name of the Lord, Harinama, is so powerful that whether it is chanted jokingly or seriously, the effect of vibrating this transcendental sound will be equally distributed. It is not possible at the present moment to perform repeated jagyas as Maharaj Bahisat performed, but it is within our means to perform Sankirtan Jagya, which does not cost anything. One can sit down anywhere and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If the surface of the globe is overflooded with the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, the people of the world will be very, very happy. So very, very powerful realization of Srila Prabhupada and his purports. So this is the fact. We see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he spread the chanting of Hare Krishna all throughout India, and thousands and millions of people took up Krishna consciousness. Of course, we're not Krishna, we're not God. May not have that potency, but if we can expand this chanting and the Sankirtan through book distribution, prasadam, more and more, it's going to have more and more, wonderful effect on the residents of the world. So somehow or other we need to increase these activities. We should be out there so much that people see us all the time, that all day long they've just got Hare Krishna on the brain. Every time they speak to their friends, I saw the Hare Krishnas there, I saw the Hare Krishnas there. I saw their bus drive past, it had Hare Krishna on the side. Remember Tamal Krishnaraj said, everyone should put Hare Krishna stickers all over, big Hare Krishna stickers all over their vehicles, So that people just by seeing Hare Krishna, they're thinking of Hare Krishna. So, we should, it's nice, different temples have devotees going out doing some book distribution and Harinam once a week, but it's not going to have a real effect unless we can really get out there en masse, as much as possible every day in numbers, and have Harinam parties every day, not just one party every day, but dozens of parties and dozens of parties doing books every day. So somehow we have to increase the preaching, and because people are so forgetful. It was Gauri Devidasi, Prabhupada disciple, said, most people I meet, they're so far away from Krishna consciousness, they couldn't be any further away if they tried. That's most people out there. They have no clue, no understanding. Who's going to help them? What other so-called spiritual movement is going to help them, give them the real benefit? But we have, the ultimate process to extricate people from all their sinful activity, completely purify them, bring them to the topmost platform of a pure lover of Krishna in one lifetime, and give them the chance to, in one lifetime go back to Goloka Vrindavan. So this is described in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, Yata Kanchana Tamnyati Kamsham Rasha Vidanata. As an expert alchemist can transform base metal into gold by mixing it with mercury in an alchemical process, so the bona fide spiritual master, through initiation and giving the process of bhakti yoga, can transform even a very, very conditioned soul addicted to all sinful activities into a pure-hearted lover of Krishna. And we see that. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, right? All devotees all around the world, most of us were engaged in horrible activities of meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex all our lives, not even understanding these activities were sinful, not even believing in God or thinking there was any reaction to our activities. And by this powerful process that Srila Prabhupada and his followers have given, through the chanting of Hare Krishna, by hearing these literatures, associating with devotees, worshipping the deity, living in a holy place, these very most 5 powerful processes which Srila Prabhupada has given us the opportunity to take advantage of every day. And thousands of millions of conditioned souls have been elevated, the proof of the pudding. We're seeing so many wonderful devotees all around the world. So Prabhupada said, people may not be inclined to, take these books or hear this philosophy, but we have to instill faith in their heart through the loud chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and prasadam distribution. These 2 things will instill more and more faith into their hearts so that they can more easily accept these books and accept this knowledge. So we can't underestimate the process of Sankirtan Yajna in all its 3 most important forms. So somehow or other we have to, just like in Canberra, we did a little mini marathon, and it was only a couple of us, but we did like 12 hours like one day and 12 hours the next day. A few devotees came out for a few hours. And it's not an easy thing to just go out there for hours and hours on books or Harinam Sankirtan or Prasadam distribution, as we all know. It's very difficult facing the conditioned souls and getting so many rejections. You have to be strong. And like Prabhupada said, these temples are the base camps where we build up our strength every day so that we can go and fight with Maya. And fight with Maya means we drop these bombs into the laps of the conditioned souls and completely obliterate their materialistic lives. So it's not easy, and especially going out by yourself, it's tough. If you can go out with other devotees, it makes it a lot more enlivening, a lot more easy to stick out there. So I found it the other day. I was thinking, I'll do one day of I'll set up the book table and I'll do one day just Harinam all day, just chant all day, like that. And one bhakta came along and he played the mridanga. He wasn't very good on the mridanga, but he said he goes out with a Harinam regularly. And said he got a set of Bhagavatams. The devotee gave him a set of Bhagavatams for free somehow. But he said he's starting to read them. Anyway, he stayed for an hour or so and we did Harinam, and I was thinking, not many people are stopping. No, I should get back into the books, But initially my plan was, I'll just do Harinam all day long one day and then books the next day. But it was tough, doing it by yourself or with some bhakta who can't really play the mridanga, But if I had a group of devotees who to chant all day and play the instruments nicely, then I would have been more inspired to just keep going. But in Brisbane we have, in New Governor, we have a team of brahmacharis, and they're going out regularly on books and Harinam, and they, some of them do books and some of them do Harinam and books, and it's good. We sort of have Harinam going through most of the day, and then books as well. And so, and this is the real life. Not that we just maintain the temples. Of course, it's very important to maintain the temples nicely, and the deity worship, very nice services done by many devotees here. But we can't forget all our lost brothers out there, millions of them, right? Every day, just for their whole lives, just doing the same foolish activities. Not understanding whatsoever what is the goal of life or who they are. Like Krishna says, Aschayavat paschiti kastiti anam, aschayavat vaditi tataiva chanya. He says that some people look on the soul as amazing, some hear about the soul as amazing, others, and others even after hearing about the soul, they cannot even understand the soul at all. So this is most people out there, even we preach to them about the soul, they can't really get it. Unless they, get regular association with devotees, take prasadam regularly, hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra regularly, then they can get cleansed and purified and gradually come to the first base, understanding not the body, we are the soul, eternal soul. Of course, even as aspiring devotees, we're still somewhat on the bodily platform. It's not a cheap thing to get off the bodily platform and fully understand that I'm not this body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intelligence, I am the pure soul. But it's like, you can't criticize a dirty man when he hops into the shower. It's only a matter of time before he becomes clean. So we're dirty and contaminated from so much sinful activity over millions of lifetimes. So we shouldn't, criticize devotees if they still have some faults or still have some bodily identifications, because it's only a matter of time. If they just stick to the process, they will become totally purified and 100% Krishna conscious. But the most powerful process is to hear from the Shastra, hear from the devotees, serve the devotees. Like there's that verse in the Bhagavatam, Yashyatma Bodhi Kunapi Tridatuke Sadhi Kalatrade Shaboma Ejidir Yatitha Bodhi Saladena Kahijij Janeshva Bigeshu Eva Gokara. One who identifies himself with this bodily bag of mucus, bile and air, has strong affinity of attachment for his mundane family, wife, children, relatives, is proud of his place of birth, his country of birth, or even he goes to a holy place, but he just goes there for sightseeing or, taking bath in the holy rivers, but he doesn't seek out the association and service and hearing from the self-realized souls, then he's considered Saiva Gokara, no better than a cow or an ass. So the most powerful process is to constantly associate, serve, hear, and assist the wonderful devotees in their service to Krishna, and hear their knowledge and realization and try to render some little service to them. Sadhu Sangha, most powerful process, even a moment's association, right, with a pure devotee. The scriptures say, Sadhu Sangha, Shava Shastrakoi, Lava Matra. What is it? Yeah, right. Even a moment's association with a pure devotee can guarantee one all success. Now we can have these books, we can be in our griha and have the books and have our deities at home and have prasadam and chant the holy names on our beads. And we think, I don't need to go to the temple, I've got it all at home, But Prabhupada said one stick is easily broken. How long are you going to keep practicing Krishna consciousness if you don't come to the temple, associate with devotees? Maya is very, very powerful. Could just pluck you away just like that. But associating with devotees is like a big bunch of sticks. Have you ever tried that? As a kid we tried to break a whole bunch. You can't do it, no matter how strong you are. Yes, so of course we have to be not just associate with devotees, be very respectful in their association. Understand that they're very highly elevated souls. Aho batasva pacho to gariyan yajivakari vatate namatubhyam. Oh, how glorious are those whose tongues are chanting the holy name, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It's considered in their previous lives, they performed all the sacrifices, studied all the Vedas, bathed in all the holy places, studied all the scriptures like that, to come to the point of just chanting Hare Krishna. Even someone who just chants Hare Krishna occasionally is considered a great soul like this, What to speak of the devotees that fully taken up Krishna consciousness. You have to be very, very respectful and not commit offences. If we commit offences to devotees, the mad elephant offence, like you have a garden, you don't put the fence up, then the mad elephant comes in and completely destroys it. So that's, if we don't guard our creeper of bhakti in the heart, and we let offences in, then it can completely destroy our devotional service, and Krishna won't tolerate that. He'll kick us out. We'll lose our taste and we'll leave, like some devotees have. So just like there's a story, there's a Christian community, and they're thriving for some time, but then after some time many of the followers and the monks are leaving. Many of the congregation and monks are leaving. Has anyone heard this story? And so they're thinking, what to do. Our community's getting very small. We're losing all our members, And they think, well, we better go and see the local rabbi. Rabbi's like the head sort of priest of the community, go and see the local rabbi. Rabbi, I think, is Jewish, and get his advice. So they go to see the local rabbi, and he says, one of you will be the Messiah, like the Saviour. And they go back and the church, and they think, well, it can't be him because he's got all these faults, and it can't be him, he's got all these faults, So they're criticising, but then they start thinking, well, actually, it can't be me because I've got this fault and that fault and this fault. I'm so unqualified, They started to be humble and think, that they were not very qualified, and they started to think nicely, oh, well, maybe it could be him or her, because they have so much wonderful devotion to God and so many wonderful qualities, So all of them started to think like that, and because the atmosphere changed in their consciousness in the community, then all the old monks started to come back, and nuns and the congregation, and they built up the congregation again, So a very nice example how we have to be very respectful. Always think of the nice qualities of the devotees and think of how dedicated they are, how they're doing so many wonderful services, and how I'm doing nothing compared to them. And try and become inspired by so many devotees and their different, how they've been gifted in different ways to do so many services, and try to, become gifted by achieving, by praying and serving our spiritual master and Krishna. We can become empowered to do some service like them. So, and if we become very nice devotees, it's guaranteed. Yashasti bhakti bhagavati yakinchana savai gunas tatra samasate stara harava bhaktasya kato mahadgana manorate nasati davato behir. In the, I think, 5th canto, describes that one has unflinching devotion to Krishna, has all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods, but one has no devotion to Krishna. He has no good qualities because he's always hovering on the platform of, the mind and the senses, the platform of material existence. So if we just stick to Krishna consciousness, automatically all these good qualities that are inherent in the soul, which are lying dormant, which are covered over by greed, lust, anger, envy, illusion, madness, like that, the 6 whips of material existence, if we become purified from those lower qualities, automatically the natural qualities that are lying dormant in everyone, all living entities, can come out. Just like Prabhupada says, you rub 2 sticks together, you can bring out fire. The fire's lying dormant there. Just have to be expert, like the Aboriginals, you can bring out fire. So Krishna consciousness is lying dormant within all living entities. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, Sajja Kabhanaya, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karadeo Daya. Pure love for Krishna is within the hearts of all living entities. Cannot be taken away, but by the process of hearing and chanting about Krishna, that natural loving dormant love for Krishna can come out. So if we become, very pure-hearted and, full of all nice qualities, then many people will be attracted. And Prabhupada gave the example that if, we wear robes and saris and shaved heads and tilak, not shaved head and a sari together, but for the women and the men, like Prabhupada said, no, previously my disciples were drug addicted, meat eating, sex mongering, intoxicating hippies. Now they're dressed in saris and dhotis, tilak, kuntimala, shaved heads, bright face, looking like they come from Vaikuntha and Goloka, So this is the transformation. So Prabhupada said if we, don these beautiful transcendental clothes and we're very happy and very ecstatic, and people will imitate, like if we go out in the public and people see devotees and they think, oh, these people are so happy and they're all always smiling and they look so bright and their clothes are beautiful. People will want to imitate, or, we see many people, I don't know, in Sydney, but even in Mawillumbah, small town, you see people, many boys with seekers, They're not devotees, but they imitate the haircut, You see that in Sydney too? Yeah. So Prabhupada gave an example that it was like there was a ball dance And, this was 1920s in England or somewhere. And, many of the men in their three-piece suits, dancing with their ladies, doing the ballroom dancing. And then one of the couples comes out and they sit on a bench and they're like chatting away. And then some naughty boys put some chewing gum, or glue, put some glue on the bench. So when the man gets up, he rips his coattails and his pants, and he doesn't know, and he goes back dancing on the floor with his girlfriend. And then all the other men there think, oh, that looks pretty cool, So they all go into the change room and tear their coat and pants up, imitate. So Prabhupada said it's like that, people see devotees very ecstatic and blissful and shaved head and seekers, and they want to imitate, they want to be part of it, And there was another example Prabhupada gave which is interesting, how if we just practice, even though it may seem very artificial in the beginning, being a devotee, practicing Krishna consciousness, for most people it's very foreign. Like happiness in the mode of goodness, it may seem like poison in the beginning, but it's like nectar in the end. Whereas happiness in the mode of ignorance, it's like suffering from beginning to end. And happiness, Krishna says this in the Bhagavad Gita, happiness in the mode of passion seems like nectar, boy meets girl, they think they love each other, and then they get married, the sex life, children, house, and then there's divorce quite often, unfortunately. So happiness in the mode of passion seems like nectar in the beginning, but it can be suffering in the end. Happiness in the mode of goodness seems like poison in the beginning, but it's nectar in the end. So it may seem very foreign, and for even a lot of us it's hard maybe to, just get up in the morning, get out of bed and jump out and chant our rounds and come to the temple. We see so many devotees not coming, even though they're initiated for many years. It's, it's sad, They should be coming, but they're, sidetracked by family and work. And one devotee was complaining to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, the Grihastas are like in Maya. And Prabhupada said, they're always in Maya. That's their natural position. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, find me that Grihasta whose middle name is not compromise. So it's just natural as a Grihasta, you have to compromise. And I see it in New Govardhan too, there's so many Grihastas and they're only living 10 minutes away. And many Grihastas here may be living 40 an hour away. It's maybe a little harder to get here through heavy traffic, but Willumbar, they're 10 minutes, there's no traffic, still they're not coming. They don't come to any part of the morning program. It's sad, We should try and encourage these devotees to come, and try and entice them. So another example Prabhupada gave, that if we just keep practicing Krishna consciousness, even though it seems foreign in the beginning, remember devotees used to say, fake it till you make it. In the beginning it might seem like we're faking it, we're putting on a show, We don't really have devotion, attraction for Krishna, but we're dressing like a devotee, we're following Prabhupada's orders, following the program, a pure devotee, they're like, the tears are rolling from their eyes, their hairs are standing on end, When was the last time we cried for Krishna, Jayapataka Maharaj said once, years ago, he came here and he had his huge wampus back in 1987. And he said, if you can't cry for Krishna, you have to cry because you can't cry for Krishna. If you can't cry because you can't cry for Krishna, you have to cry because you can't cry because you can't cry for Krishna. But Prabhupada gave an interesting example in one of his lectures, that if we just practice Krishna consciousness, gradually it becomes natural, And he said it's like a little boy, if he's lifting a little calf, if he keeps lifting that little calf, even though the calf's getting stronger and bigger, along with the calf getting stronger and bigger, that the boy's growing up and he gets bigger and stronger too. And even when the calf becomes a bull, he can still lift the bull. Have you heard that example? It's amazing. I don't know how it's possible, but Prabhupada said if you just practice, like lifting the little calf, gradually you get more strength and you can still lift a bull. So he gave that example that if we just keep practicing, eventually it becomes more and more natural, So, okay, we'll finish there, see if anyone has any questions or comments. Yes, Prabhu. Do you have a microphone so we can hear the questions on YouTube or not? Okay.
Quoting so many references from Prabhupada's books, it's always a pleasure to see you here. And especially you going around all the time doing some kirtan and doing book distribution. Thanks, brother. I was just referring to the end of the purport that was explained before. Srila Prabhupada said, only after accumulating many pious activities in various births does one get the opportunity to personally associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes.
So, should we actually read that as transcendental activities, not just pious activities? We have got many pious activities, right?
Yes.
So they have to be performed in Krishna consciousness. So that means they have to be transcendental.
Yeah, well, there is usually we understand there's a distinction between pious activities and transcendental activities. Many people, especially in India, they do perform pious activities, free from sinful activities, but quite often it's motivators. They want something in return, performing for pious activities. They may do some acts of charity, whether it's to the Supreme Lord or to demigods, and considered like pious activity, but they want some result. They want to be elevated to a higher planet, or they want wealth, or good education, or nice children, or Prabhupada says if he talks about somewhere. I seem to remember it's in the Bhagavad Gita. If one wants to be free from disease, worships a certain demigod. If one wants powerful sex life, he worships a certain demigod. So, but transcendental activities means activities that are done for Krishna without expecting anything in return, for the pleasure of Krishna, for the glorification of Krishna, for the spreading of Krishna consciousness without expecting anything in return for ourselves. Prabhupada gave a couple of stories that come to mind of the demigod worshippers. One was that there was a Kali worshipper and he wanted some wealth, and so he prayed to Kali for wealth. And he got blessed with wealth, but then Kali said, you have to offer me a goat in return. And the man said, so the man came back the next day and said, I can't find any goats anywhere in the whole kingdom. And Kali said, that's not good enough. I bless you with this wealth. At least you have to offer me a pig. So he came back the next day and he said, sorry, and I couldn't find any pigs anywhere. And Kali said, that's terrible, at least offer me a fly. The man said, well, there's so many flies flying around in the sky, why don't you grab one yourself? So he'd already achieved his goal, his desire, and he wasn't interested in the demigod anymore, And there was another one a devotee of Krishna was, he was motivated, but he was praying to Krishna, there's a big horse race on Krishna, and you're controlling everything, so if I bet on this horse, you can make it win. And I promise that if it wins, I'll give you half the takings, And Krishna reluctantly, sort of agreed. And so the race went on, and the horse came second. And so the man only got half the amount of the winnings. And when God, Krishna, came to him and said, well, you promised, you have to give me half. And the man said, well, you're controlling everything. You arranged the horse to come second. You've already taken your half. So yeah, generally there is a difference between pious activities and transcendental, but we can understand when Prabhupada says this, even though he says pious activities, he's meaning transcendental, because how by ordinary pious activities can you achieve the opportunity to personally associate with the Supreme Lord himself? It has to be transcendental activities. And what does Prabhupada say? What's the Sanskrit? Krita punya punya? The cowherd boys, they performed like pious activities, or transcendental activities, for many, many births, to have that opportunity where they were personally associating with the Supreme Lord himself. So it's very elevated, very rare. So, of course, there's many amazing points in this purport and every purport of Srila Prabhupada's. I didn't touch on everything. But yes, nice you brought up that point. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Yes, Ganesham. Hare Krishna. I'm still struggling to get out there, but.
Same enthusiasm, same energy, we are still coping, struggling to cope with your enthusiasm. How do you keep the enthusiasm going?
I guess by just trying to stay in the fire of Krishna consciousness, trying to attend the temple program regularly. Although being a grihastha, it's hard to get to the whole morning program. You've got responsibilities. You've got to help get the kids ready for school, but I try to go to some part of the morning program, even just Mangalati, chant a few rounds, come home, or maybe go for darshan and Guru Puja, then go home, or just sometimes go for class. Sometimes busy, and I could just think, just go for prasadam, and not just to honour prasadam, but go to serve out prasadam. So even any one of the parts of the morning program or evening program is so powerful. And I find that gives me a lot of encouragement, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of strength to push on with my own Krishna conscious practice, and a lot of realization how the people out there need this wonderful process. Now you become so ecstatic and blissful by attending the temple programs. You think, wow, our brothers and sisters out there, they're so lost, they're so unhappy. Why shouldn't we share it with them? Why can't we give it to them as well? We have the medicine like Bhaktivinoda Thakur to wipe out all the disease of illusion, and just by practice, by going out for years and years, it's just sort of becomes second nature, and you develop more strength. But sometimes I, feel a little reluctant, have to push myself. But if I have other devotees to go out with, it's easy. I find it easier to be enthusiastic to go out. And so, as I said, there's a good team of brahmacharis. There's 4 boys going out regularly at New Govardhan. A couple of them go out 5 days a week, a couple of them 3 or 4 days. And they're really very nice boys, and they're doing quite well at the books, and they like doing Harinam, and they always have some prasadam. Garuda, Garuda? He's 70, and he's still cooking feasts all the time. He goes out in Harinam by himself every day. Any time we go to Brisbane or Gold Coast, he's walking around with it by himself with his sound system. And he plays cartels, but he's got, on his sound system, he's got the mridanga playing. So it sounds like the cartels and the mridanga are there. So he makes these blockbuster, huge doorstop pieces of burfi, So the devotees always have a ghee bucket of burfis on the table to give out to people, So if that's not going to put an end to your materialistic life, eating one of those burfis, I don't know what will. So yeah, going out with those boys, and there's another devotee in Brisbane, he goes out most days, Dal Goranga, Dal Goranga, Dancing Daniel. He just does Harinam all day, but he's distributing books as well, and he maintains, living with his mother, he pays half the rent and the bills. Somehow by Krishna's mercy, he's making enough by selling books as well as doing Harinam to pay all his bills, And Charanaravinda, the head Pachari, he's going out, so it's a good group of devotees going out regularly. The other day we did town to town, people do the pub crawls, they go from one pub to the next. So we did a Harinam crawl, 4 of us went out, two doing books and 2 doing Harinam. So I just did Harinam with a devotee old friend from Melbourne, Siddharma Vipra. And the other 2 devotees were doing books. And if we got ahead of them, we'd stop till the book distributors caught up to us, And we did all these small towns Lismore, well, some of the big towns, Lismore, Casino's like the beef capital of Australia. But people were still taking books, and Nimbin, And it was a lot of fun, And sometimes we drove in my Hare Krishna van, and we open all the windows and we go up and down the main streets of like Brisbane with the sound system blaring out, up and down for hours, just driving around, people like heads turn, immediately they see Hare Krishna on the van, So we have to try different ways to spread the holy name, spread Christian consciousness. And it's fun, and sometimes going through malls, arcades, shopping centres, I remember once we were going through Queen Victoria building through the underground tunnel up to Pitt Street Mall, and you come out of that big food court just below Pitt Street Mall there, and we were with Bhakti Vishwambara Madhava Maharaj, who just passed away, and I was leading the Harinam, and one security guy came and he tried to grab the cartels out of my hand, and I just yanked them the other way and kept chanting it. We kept going. We went through the food court, and there's, as you go up the elevator to Pitt Street Mall, there's like a sort of a platform there, and we stood on the platform for some time, just chanting to the whole, at lunchtime, people in the food court, And then we saw the security guy coming, so we quickly went up to Pitt Street Mall. So yeah, we're going to have fun out there, So just going out for years and reading Prabhupada's books and understanding the importance of giving these wonderful gifts to the conditioned souls, and going out there having a good time, and as trying to be like working hard for Krishna, but trying to be detached at the same time, like Kamaneva Adhikaste Ma Phalesho Kadachana Ma Phala Kama Hetubu Ma Te Sangos Kamani. 247, Krishna says you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the result. The result is for Krishna's pleasure. Never consider yourself the cause of the result. Krishna's the cause, he's the doer, we're just the instrument. And never be attached to not doing your duty. Like Arjuna, thinking, I can't go and fight because they're all my friends and relatives, Rather go to the forest and meditate, but Krishna eventually convinces him, no, you have to do your duty, you have to fight, otherwise you'll be considered a coward and you're a great Kshatriya, So, if we don't think, I'll just stay back at the temple and read and chant all day, make so many excuses. It's 10 o'clock, I can't miss the Raj Bhog, it's such wonderful prasadam, I'll wait till lunch and then I'll have lunch, then I'll go out. And we eat such a big lunch, I have to have a sleep now. I'll just have half an hour sleep. 2 hours later we wake up. It's 3 o'clock and I have to pick the kids up at 3:30. I can't really get out. I don't have time. I've got to pick up the kids at 3:30 from school, So we make one excuse after another. So but the way I was trained, we were always discouraged from hanging around the temple, for the lunch, even though it's very beautiful, wonderful prasadam. And if we snuck back for the Raj Bhog, we were doing somewhere close, and the temple president went, what are you doing here? Get out there, So we never ate lunch really. We might have a bit of fruit. Sometimes we took out breakfast prasadam in a thermos, hot khichdi, hot halava. We stopped for lunch, but then we found sometimes we get tired, because we have a big lunch, then it was hard to keep going in Sankirtan, so usually I prefer just to keep going, just have a bit of fruit, keep going till the end of the day, come back and take prasadam. I remember when I moved to the north coast, to Gold Coast, and then Govinda's restaurants had just opened. And we started doing Sankirtan on the Gold Coast, and going to Govinda's was just such amazing prasadam. And we'd stop there for lunch, but we'd have such a big lunch, we just bomb ourselves out. It was so hard to get back out in Sankirtan. And then I thought, no, I'm going to stop going to Govinda's, and then just wait till the end of the day and take some at the end of the day. So yeah, all these, just understand that, this is the most important service to Guru and Gauranga, is being Sankirtan devotee, being a soldier for Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and Prabhupada, and trying to, save the world in its darkest hour, Kali Yuga. It's getting worse and worse. We even in our short lifetime, we can see things are getting worse and worse. So somehow we have to save thousands of millions of people, and we go out, books, Harinam, thousands of people can get the benefit of hearing the holy name or getting books or seeing devotees. And that's one benefit of like Harinam Sankirtan is like not so many people will take books, or even not so many people are coming to our restaurants. Maybe, devotees might do, 10 or 20 or 100 books in the day. If you do 100 books in a day, you're doing really well. But Harinam Sankirtan is such a wonderful activity that those people who will never stop and take a book or take prasadam, they're forced to hear the holy name. Thousands of them, It's like you go to the busiest intersection in Sydney or Brisbane, you stop there and you just chant all day. You can understand thousands of people are getting the benefit, And eventually if they hear the holy name enough, regularly, they will eventually stop and take books, take prasadam. Any other questions or realizations? Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Push them with that fact that maybe Krishna and but where do we make the distinction of seeing that maybe we should put in more effort? Like we use the cheap excuse that Krishna is handling everything and Krishna will look after them maybe.
You'll make them devotees eventually?
Sometimes maybe we're not trying enough, so where do we make the distinction? How do we deal with such situations?
Yeah, well, we can think that even if people are, ignoring us, some people criticize us out there in Sankirtan, that still they're receiving immense benefit, and understand that not that just the people that we see, but other people in buildings may hear that the Harinam Sankirtan, other living entities are hearing, getting benefit. And it's tough because like you can do kirtan in the temple, like we have sometimes the big 24-hour kirtan programs or 12-hour kirtans and many devotees there and many nice kirtan leaders and the kirtan leaders get inspired by all the devotees chanting and dancing, smiling at each other. But you go out there and chant in the streets and practically everyone ignores you. It's tough to like just stick out there and chant or do books. But it makes you really, really strong and it forces you to really pray to Krishna and your spiritual master to help you, push on with the Sankirtan, especially book distribution, because you get so many rejections. You're forced to like pray to Guru and Gauranga to help you. You can have you ever got to a point in the temple room where you're mopping the floor or you're cleaning the pots where you're like, oh Krishna, this is so hard, I really have to pray to you to help me do this service, But Sankirtan's, it's that wonderful service where it really forces you to pray and call out like that. So, and of course everyone eventually, at some lifetime, they will become Krishna conscious, but most people in the material world, unless they get the benefit of the Sankirtan process, it's going to be millions of births, One devotee said like that, well, why should we practice Krishna consciousness? Eventually, Krishna's going to bring us back home, back to Godhead. And Prabhupada said, well, this is the shortcut process. Now you want to go to the top of a 100-story building in Sydney, to meet someone in the office. If you go up and down the stairs, it'll be night time. The office will be closed by the time you get there. But if you take the elevator, you're up in 2 seconds, So this is a shortcut process. By going out to help people, that's the shortcut process for them, If we don't go out and help them, maybe another million lifetimes before they come to Krishna. If we go out now, maybe this lifetime they take up Krishna consciousness. Okay, I think we should finish there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol. I wanted to ask if any of you are free today, even for a couple of hours, to go out. We could do, set up a book table. Is anyone free? Yep, services. Okay. You've got... Are you at college there? Okay, what time are you free? Lunchtime? Like 12 to 2 or? Yeah. At UTS, you mean? Sydney Uni. So you're at Sydney Uni. Okay. I drove past there today and I was wondering whether I could set up a book table there without getting moved on by the security on the edge of the road at the beginning of the uni, whether that would be, or they would come along and shut me down. Yeah. Yeah, I could try it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I did books there a few weeks ago. But I was just walking around, I didn't have a table, but it was good. But yeah, maybe I'll try setting up the table and can call you. Okay, Hare Krishna.